Bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about
comic books, costumes, facts,
Boots.
and other stuff.
In this week's issue, the man with a fist in his beard, Chuck Norris and his Karate Commandos, brought to you by Chuck Norris Water. It kicks your taste buds in the thirst.
Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I'm Zach, joined as always by Mike.
Why, hello.
Oh, that was
that
nice.
weird?
No,
Yeah,
I liked
okay.
it. I like that intro there.
Why, hello.
Mike, what if I told you that today's story involved not only comic book greats, but comic book legends?
Legends.
This comic that we are about to cover
Yeah.
it's a little different.
Okay.
It's based off of a cartoon at the time.
Okay.
It's going to be a Marvel comic book.
What time frame are we talking
We're
about?
talking about the mid 80s, 86
Okay.
to be exact.
Oh,
Do you
sweet
remember?
spot.
I don't know how much you know about animation, but an animation studio called Ruby Spears, kind of in the 80s.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
They made like a Mr. T cartoon.
Oh,
and
yeah,
Centurions
cheap stuff.
and Thundar and right.
Thundar.
Some other things like that. Well, a guy who was at the time
He was a barbarian, you know.
he was, yeah. Well, you know who
And he had
animated
his friend, oh shit, what was his name? It was like
him. It was the like line dude.
something the mook. That's gonna kill me. Okay, go.
I bring it up because the man who was working there and working for Ruby Spears at the time and developing things like that
Yeah.
had quit comics because he was just kind of tired of where it was, and that was
Okay.
Jack Kirby.
Oh.
So Jack Kirby was working in animation for Ruby Spears, helping do animation for this property.
Oh wow.
Then when Marvel Comics, granted it says Star Comics, but it's like
Okay.
a Marvel imprint. It's
Right.
all under Marvel.
Sure.
Decided to go ahead and make a comic book adaptation. They went and got the other legend here, and Steve Ditko.
By the way, it's Ookla the Mock.
Okay, Ookla.
Ookla the Mock.
And
I'm
got
so sorry.
Steve Ditko, who
Princess Ariel.
just to easy.
Yeah, I remember
say,
Ditko.
With,
Yeah, absolutely.
helped create Spider-Man.
So Ditko, didn't he do Sergeant Rock?
yeah, he drew some. Sorry, I
Thank
think
you.
so.
How about that for a poll?
There
huh?
you go. Yeah, I think, yeah. He also did.
I loved Sergeant Rock.
He created the Question. That was after he had left Marvel, though. But at the time, his biggest thing was he kind of turned Peter Parker into the Spider-Man we know.
Oh, okay. All right.
There's a lot of things between how much, and I don't want to talk ill about the dead, but how much should be credited to Stan Lee and how much should be credited to those of like Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby and others.
Yeah.
Not getting into any of that.
And we've
just
said
saying,
some of that before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so you have two men in Jack Kirby who had a hand in creating a lot of the Marvel universe, and Steve Ditko, who definitely had a hand in creating one of the most popular superheroes of all time in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Both work on one in the animation and one in the comic books. Today's story. Are you ready, Mike?
I'm ready.
I am bringing to you Chuck Norris Karate
Oh,
Commandos.
fantastic. Look at him. That is a hell of a mustache that just
So-
blends right into his face.
That, like,
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the most impressive thing to me is the big CN he has on his chest. That's I love that. And his tight pants.
it is.
You ever drink any of the Chuck Norris water?
No, I've seen the ads for it.
So my wife and I went on that little trip of ours, right?
Yeah.
We went to this grocery store, and I have a habit of being stupid at places. I talk to everybody, especially kids. Like I don't know. I'd say dumb things just to see how they'll react.
Yeah.
And I passed the Chuck Norris water, and so these poor kids working the register and the sacking at the. I was like, "Hey, y'all ever drink any of that Chuck Norris water?" And they were like, "No, we've never had any of the Chuck Norris water." I said, what
Bet you it tastes like water.
well, it's full of electrolytes. It's what plants crave. I said, well, let me run something past you. I think their slogan should be Chuck Norris water. It kicks your taste buds in the thirst.
Oh,
What
I
a
like
great,
that.
is that not good?
That is good.
It kicks your taste buds in the thirst,
That is really good.
right? And they didn't react very well. They didn't like it very much. They were
Kids.
like, old man, get out of here. My wife thought it was funny.
I think
kind
it's-
of,
I
but
think
she's
it's
also,
solid.
I think, embarrassed by
Well,
me
true.
sometimes.
She's like,
so,
come on, let's go.
yeah, get your ass out of it.
So before I get into the comic book, let me tell you about the cartoon just a little bit because it'll explain. Cartoon, basically after the Mr. T cartoon was over, after it ran its
what a
30
terrible
issues,
cartoon, yeah.
they had got, for people who don't know and maybe weren't around at the time, one of the big things to do when you were trying to increase your brand, at least in the 80s, is they would let you make action figures of yourself, and you had your own cartoon show. Mr. T had a cartoon show. Hulk Hogan had a cartoon show. Chuck Norris had a cartoon show. So, like, that was the next step. Man. Looking great with his water there.
He's got his Chuck Norris. C-Force, by the way.
C-Force.
Yeah.
So,
does not stand for see you next Tuesday.
The thing about this cartoon is, one, I can't find the full episodes anywhere online.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to buy the DVD if I want to watch it for like $9.
Buy the DVD.
Yeah. Warner Brothers only released it once on DVD.
Christ in heaven.
Because it's only 5 episodes.
Yeah. Well, it's a story arc. It starts at the beginning.
Each one is different. There is something that ties them all together, but
that's Mr. Norris.
They're all so ridiculous. And you remember the trend in like the mid 2000s of all the Chuck Norris jokes?
Oh yeah,
they had to start back like this. The cartoon and the comic book plays it serious
because of his abilities.
Yes,
he can punch a bear in the face.
Stuff. Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, in one scene I did see from the cartoon, he used a snake as like a lasso, I think.
Mm-hmm. He can kick your taste buds in the thirst.
Yeah. So it's all just a bunch of ridiculousness. And we are going to dive into that today by looking at the comic that Marvel then made off of the cartoon.
You know, the way this is made, you can tell it's Marvel, even though it says Star. I mean, it's not just the M here, but it's you can just
it has
it
more
just
of a
looks
Marvel
like a Marvel
look to it.
comic. Yeah.
I think though that we essentially have kind of like 2 sections of the show, if you will. We have here, then we'll take a break and we come back for the second half of our show.
All right.
In the cartoon, I found out though that Chuck Norris, live action, would give you pieces of sage advice before
I love that.
and after the episode. So what I have done is I have a clip from each of these that are completely out of context.
Yeah.
For us to just play before we get started into each 2
That
episodes.
is fantastic, Zach. Thank you for all your
No
hard
problem.
work. You know, Super Friends used to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Super Friends, like Superman or Wonder Woman, actually taught me to pull my lid down over the other lid. I think I've said this before, but pull my top lid of my eye down over my other lid to get dirt out of my eye.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
She told kids to pull their freaking eyelids down over other lids.
All right. This one is, I didn't even talk about it. I'm going to have to show you when we take a commercial or after the show, the theme song for this.
Yeah, please.
Because it says Chuck Norris like 20 times in a minute.
Very
there's
nice.
explosions and like live, it's great. But we'll start with the longer of the 2 clips here. It's about 15 seconds of some sage kind of advice. And he would also, I guess, set up the episode, or I hope so, by the tail end of this.
Teach me, Chuck Norris.
Solid stuff.
Yeah. Deadly Dollface?
Deadly dolphins.
Oh, dolphins. Oh, that's
Yeah.
even better. Yeah. Deadly dolphins. Sure.
How are they deadly?
Yeah. No, they're killing people with their blowholes.
I don't know. I didn't get to watch it.
Shooting poison darts at people, but all straight up, which
Maybe,
was weird.
yeah.
They just fall on random people.
So now with some sage advice from Chuck Norris, let's go ahead and get into issue 1
Deadly
of
dolphins.
Chuck Norris. Exactly. It had me scratching my head.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Chuck Norris Karate Commandos. Let me introduce you to
Well,
the
he's on the
team.
cover. Hang on one second. He's on the cover, and he's given that karate pose where kind of do your
he's
fist.
on every cover.
And he's being attacked by what looks to be G.I. Joe knockoffs.
Yeah, no, they do kind of look like Cobra.
And he's got a very serious look on his face and a wonderful headband.
He does. So the thing you should know about Chuck Norris's Karate Commandos, aside from the fact that it's both spelt with 2 Ks, Karate obviously with a K, and then Commandos with a K. So take that, Mortal Kombat.
Thank God it wasn't cool karate commandos.
We're introduced
Then you got
to
a very racist Chuck Norris.
our main character of the first story. His name, Mike, is too much.
His name is too much?
I don't mean like it's too much for me to say. It's TOO space MUCH. His name is too much.
The kid's name is too much.
Apparently in the cartoon, that's like his catchphrase, and so that's how he gets it from.
Too much.
Yeah, but so they call him, like his teacher calls him too much.
Mr. Norris, it's too much.
So, I would it be easier for me to call him TM through this?
No, I like the formal.
Too much?
Yeah,
Okay.
you got to give him his God-given name.
So
God-given American birthright name.
open up issue 1, and it's called the Super Cruiser.
Yeah.
Where I'll tell you about the rest of
his.
his.
He in Japan?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, it's a picture that Too Much has.
Yeah, it's just a picture. He hasn't drawn it.
Yeah. Okay. So let me keep going through the other Karate Commandos before we get there. So Chuck Norris is their leader.
Yeah.
Too Much is the kind of short round.
Are his commandos all children?
No.
Okay. All right.
He does have Pepper, who's a teenage girl.
Okay.
And her twin brother Reed.
Pepper Reed.
Now Reed is referred to as Chuck's teenage apprentice.
Yuck.
Then the last 2 members, because it is karate.
It's like having a ward, boy ward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they want you to know, obviously, it's the Karate Commandos.
Sure. This is not jujitsu commanders.
We have, well, I'm just saying, we had to make sure that we got a little bit of stereotyping in there.
Sure.
We have Tabe, who is a sumo wrestling champ, and Chemo, who is a
grown man.
Grown man.
Yeah.
And Chemo, who is a
Chemo.
Yeah, who is
Great
sword, like a master of swords, kind of. I can't remember.
Here's
Bushido, I think is what they say that he's.
Here's the thing: like cancer was a thing then.
Yeah.
And you were treated with chemo.
But it's KIMO,
Oh,
not
I see.
CHEMO.
Yeah, when people hear that out loud, they don't think that.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's chemo, KIMO.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
So that's our group. You'll be introduced to them along the way.
Wait.
We start and we see that
Can't wait to see these grown men hang out with these children.
Well, Too Much is hanging out in class, daydreaming about Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Talking about how he's the best.
As we all did.
While he's talking, his teacher is talking about how that the class is going to get a trip to go to the the International Anti-Terrorism Conference.
Oh, that's what all kids love.
So they get to go on this trip thanks to Too Much being friends with Chuck Norris.
It's too much.
And they're going to show off the Super Cruiser there. What's the Super Cruiser? Well, Too Much doesn't know because he's too busy daydreaming about Chuck Norris fighting his big time villain.
Because he's too damn much.
Who is one of the villains in the cartoon as well. Mm-hmm. What do you think a Chuck Norris villain would be named, Mike?
I think from looking at this guy, I think his name is Blank Face.
Super Ninja.
Super Ninja, sure. Yeah, that makes sense. But he has no face.
Too Much is daydreaming about beating up Super Ninja when his teacher kind of snaps him out of it.
Wow, how generic.
And his teacher kind of tells him to pay attention and then goes to tell them that the cruiser, the special cruiser, the Super Cruiser,
freaking RV
looks like a regular RV. That's the beauty of it. It has so much weapons inside, but it looks like a regular RV.
Oh, boy, they got him.
Well, while the kids are there, there's this one thing that was really weird to me in this first issue.
Yeah.
Too Much is talking to one of his friends. And the friend says, "Hey, did you bring it?" And Too Much says, "You bet. One color portrait of Chuck Norris as requested." They're trading like 8x10s of Chuck Norris in class.
Wow.
Then, so he's talking to his friend. He's like, "Hey, you want to come over and practice karate tonight?" And Too Much is like, "Yeah, we can do that. Hope she doesn't call on us. I didn't read the book we were supposed to read over the weekend and do our book report."
Because he's too much.
Man, sure enough, they were talking about it. Or they were talking, and their talking got the attention of the teacher. Okay. And so she thought, hey, maybe you'd like to come up here and give your book report first. As he's getting so scared, he's like, I haven't read anything. I'm doomed. I hope something would happen. Anything. And then a bunch of the Super Ninjas goons basically come in and take the classroom hostage.
The OK Ninjas.
The OK Ninjas, because they know that Too Much is one of the Karate Commandos. So
this is already very stupid.
Yeah.
There's ninjas now in a school classroom, and these ninjas have what do you call those?
Like submachine guns?
Yeah, but they're like the one that everybody used to use in gangs. Uzis, yeah.
Also, the main boss or the main villain, like Super Ninja, is like, you know how there's like a main boss and like a side boss? Yeah. Super Ninja, we find out, is the side boss.
Oh.
The main boss looks like a Dr. Claw ripoff from Inspector Gadget, but he is just called the Claw.
And he's holding a cat.
He's petting a cat.
Just
yeah.
like him.
We find out that this group has taken too much hostage because they want.
It just sounds like you have bad grammar.
I know.
He's taking too much hostage.
Because they want Chuck Norris to turn over the super cruiser to them.
Sure.
Right? Like he'll do it to protect too much. The jokes about Tabe are a lot. He's the sumo champ, so obviously he likes to eat. That's kind of the gag that gets played over and over again.
He loves to eat.
We see that Pepper.
How much does he love to eat, though?
So much.
Too much.
We see that Pepper has kind of been given the directive to drive the super cruiser to the school after they find out that the class has been taken hostage.
Yeah.
And she gets there, and
Super Cruiser looks a lot like the RV from Breaking Bad.
it does.
Yeah.
And she gets there, and they enact their plan where the dog jumps out of the super cruiser at the ninjas.
Do we know the dog's
The
name?
OK Ninjas, Wolf.
Wolf. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then Pepper herself jumps out.
The OK Ninjas.
I think we're just gonna stay with that.
Pepper's a grown woman.
She's supposed to be a teen because her twin brother Reed is Chuck's teen apprentice.
She looks like a soccer mom
Yeah. Well, so
or a newscaster.
Chuck Norris,
She has a blazer on,
does.
for God's sakes.
to take care of this class, Chuck Norris decides I'm going in on my own. He
Yeah.
walks into the classroom.
He looks like Hulk Hogan in this
He
thing.
does. Grabs the guy and says, "Why don't you pick on someone your own size?" And then you see like thought bubbles
Yeah.
from the OK Ninjas, and
This
says,
is like the kangaroo.
and they say, "It's him. It's really him. We're doomed."
Oh, no. They
Yeah.
didn't think about that going in?
No. And then all the kids are like, "It's Chuck Norris."
Yeah.
They're all amped that he's there to save them.
And there's Charles Barkley, and
And
there's
he-
Godzilla.
Yeah, and then like Tabe and Reed,
Yeah.
or not Tabe, Chemo and Reed jump in. So now there's like 3 guys there to battle all the OK Ninjas.
Wow.
And he tells them, "You haven't done anything wrong, guys. You can leave, and we don't have to do
Sure,
anything."
Sure.
They don't.
Well, they did break into a school holding machine guns.
That's true.
That might be wrong.
He tells them though, and then they're like, "We're going to best you," and he's like, "Fine, but we're going to do this among ourselves outside. We're going to let the hostages leave."
Yeah.
They're not going to let that happen. Instead, a fight breaks out
He's
between
a Texas Ranger. For
between
God's
not
sakes.
yet. He's not.
Oh, he's not in this yet?
No.
Oh, okay. The sumo shows up.
Yeah, Tabe's there now, but it doesn't matter because we get 12 panels of nothing but Chuck Norris fighting people.
That's what we were looking for.
And he obviously defeats everybody.
When did you say this was? 86?
86.
Yeah.
86 and 87.
Yeah.
My favorite
definitely.
part and the thing that I found most random about this is
Most of us couldn't read then.
is one of the OK Ninjas grabs the teacher then in a last-ditch effort to try to get out of there because Chuck Norris has basically decimated everybody else.
Yeah, sure.
Chuck tells the OK Ninja to let her go, and he says, "Fine, the famous Chuck Norris will prove a more valuable hostage than any unknown school
Sure.
teacher."
That was your last mistake, buddy.
Yeah, and he pulls the gun on him, and he's holding it, and he goes, "Your martial arts skills aren't much good against a gun.
It's true.
How does it feel to be hopeless?"
Yeah.
And Chuck Norris tells him, "Your shoe is untied."
That's the best.
To which the ninja says, "Pathetic. You think I would fall for that ancient trick?"
Ancient.
And he goes, "I looked down and you sucker punched me. I was not born yesterday. No, Mr. Norris." No, instead, Chuck kicks the book up
Yeah.
into the guy,
Oh.
which causes him to miss and shoot through the book, and then Chuck punches him in the face.
Oh.
Typical Chuck
Such
Norris
a
stuff.
good Chuck Norris movie.
All the other OK Ninjas leave, and then to close out our first Chuck Norris episode here, that
Yikes.
everybody's done and everybody's safe.
Yeah.
They
Saved all the
find out,
kids.
they pick up the book.
Hey, just real quick. You know these kids and people are in danger because of Chuck Norris, right?
No, it doesn't matter. He saved him.
Oh, okay. All right.
He picks up the book that was shot, and I don't know why this is such a big part of the story, but it is. And he goes, Chuck says, "The only thing I regret about all this is this book's having been shot up." And it's the a picture of the book that they're holding. They were supposed to do
It's the
their book
Bible.
report. It's the children's story. Do you know the children's story?
I don't know.
I had to look it up too. It's apparently like a short story or a novella from like in the 1980s.
Written by Adolf Hitler.
No, I can't remember who was written it, but
Or Dr. Seuss, one or the other.
the story, it takes place over 30 minutes, and it's about essentially Another world war has happened. We have lost.
Okay.
This teacher that is teaching the children is getting replaced.
Yeah.
And it's all about the teacher teaching the kids kind of the new way and how easily they're kind of led astray. Like, you know, or just in general, we are.
Kind of like that.
Yeah. And it's like the whole, like the teacher's trying to just win over all the class. She has one kid who's like really you know, kind of fighting against it because his dad was taken in. Like he fought in the war, you know, he spoke out against the new regime. So his father was taken, but like she then like appoints him head of the class and like praises him and stuff like that. So he kind of looks by it and he is end up persuading to kind of follow through. It's just really weird though, because he says, like Chuck's like, or Chemo says, are you like, you know, you're sorry because it was school property? And Chuck says, partly Chemo, but especially because it's a good book. And Tabe says, oh yes, the children's story is a fine fable. Apparently everybody knows this.
This is an affiliate play.
Right? I'm thinking it has to be.
They get something out of selling this book.
Like they keep talking about it. It's like, look, it really is Chuck Norris and the Karate Commandos, and Too Much in one. Oh, is one of them. Oh, the kids are realizing that Too Much is a Karate Commando. I'm sorry. We get to the point where they love this book so much that Chemo goes to the teacher and says, Miss Reynolds, my friends have recommended this novel so highly. May I borrow it overnight so that I may read it?
So in 1990, the movie Shogun came out. Shogun was written by James Clavell, who also wrote the children's story. Yeah, so that's the only reference I could kind of figure, you know? And it says the children's story originally was written...
like 82, right?
It's 81.
81.
Very close. And it originally appeared in Ladies' Home Journal and was printed in book form in 1981.
1981. So this book was just printed 5 years before this.
And there is a 30-minute short film for television, which aired on Mobile Showcase, as in the oil.
Oh, yeah. That was a Saturday night movie.
Yeah, that's good. 30 minutes.
Yep. So.
Well, hey, Chuck saved everybody, and that's great.
Issue 2.
Hey, can I give you my Chuck Norris tie?
Oh, yeah.
One of the first movies I ever saw was Good Guys Wear Black.
Yes, that was, I think, his first full.
It was 1978. And when I say first movies, I went to it was at a theater, but this was a drive-in. So I remember going to the Circle Drive-In and watching Good Guys Wear Black, and I think it was paired with Game of Death, the Bruce Lee one. So we watched back to back. You know, you would do that at drive-ins a lot.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing Good Guys Wear Black in our car at the drive-in theater.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah. And now I'll die.
Well, I've seen stuff.
My
at the
bones have
drive-in
turned
theater,
to
too.
dust.
Yeah.
Bye.
Oh, stop it. So now that you know the group, it'll be a little. We can move through the
I'm
issues
familiar with
a
these
bit
kids.
quicker. But we start our next issue,
This guy in the comics is not Chuck Norris. He is much bigger than Chuck Norris.
and he looks like Hulk Hogan,
Yeah. Hulk Hogan, short hair.
except it's just a regular mustache, not a handlebar one.
Yeah, true.
So this issue is called Margie for some reason. Chuck Norris is on a pier and he's headed to a bar, and he passes I'll call him Too Short, who's the rapper. Too Much is the guy here.
Short.
He almost passes. He passes Too Much, who's like selling like souvenirs and stuff there on the pier.
Yeah.
Chuck-
Chicle, mister? Chicle?
Yeah, Chuck walks into a bar and he basically just says, they ask him what it'll be, and he's like, I don't want anything to drink. I'm just here to talk about something hot.
I don't want to sully my temple.
He's like, I'm here to talk about something hot and where I might dispose of it if you happen to if I happen to lay my hands on it. So I guess he's trying to ask if you can fence something, but that's a weird way to put it.
Chuck's asking on the DL if somebody wants to go back to his room. Is what he's
And
asking.
so essentially they're like, yeah, what are you trying to steal? And he's like, or what do you got? And they're like, we got, if I could talk, the people in the bar are asking Chuck, well, what do you have that you're trying to unload? And he tells them, the Banana 7000 computer prototype.
Banana.
The Banana
That
7000.
has nothing to do with Apple.
No, not at all.
It's a competitor.
One of the guys in the
Banana
bar stands up and
7000.
tells him that, hey, there's already somebody who's trying to steal it, and they've already rearranged a buyer for it.
Wait, it's the Banana 7000 what?
Computer.
It just says computer, or does it say like super computer?
Oh, computer prototype.
Oh, computer prototype. Okay, gotcha.
Chuck says, thanks. That's what I really came here to learn. He just wanted to know, I guess, that apparently somebody was trying to steal the supercomputer for him, and it gave him an excuse to beat up people in a bar.
Chuck Norris just lied.
He did. And then he, again, beat people up in a bar.
Sure.
He finally gets out, chases them all down, beats them up, and he gets to...
They're reminiscent of Roadhouse. What's going
Very
on
much
here?
so.
Yeah.
In these comics, there's always giant spreads of him
Classic
beating
movie
people up.
Roadhouse.
As he and Too Much are about to leave, Chuck stops at the booth that he's at selling stuff, and he asks him what he's doing, and Too Much says, well, I was, watching this guy's souvenir stand. He asked me to while he went and took a break.
Okay.
And Chuck goes, and you're going to pay him all the money for his merchandise that you sold, right?
Yeah, you little bastard.
Yeah, he goes, I had, where is it? Oh, here we go. Oh, that was my cover. I offered to watch a guy's souvenir stand while we ate his lunch, is what he says when he's taking the money.
Okay, sure.
To which Chuck says, I had a bird's eye view of everything that went on. And I turned, and Too Much says, and I turned to swell profit too. And Chuck says, and since you were selling the man's merchandise, of course you'll do the ethical thing and turn all the money you made over to him. Mm-hmm. Just a very strange thing.
This kid was gonna steal this guy's money and he ate his lunch? Is that what I'm taking
the
from
guy
that?
went to lunch.
Oh,
but
the
he was
guy
gonna,
went to lunch.
No, he was just saying like, hey,
Okay.
I told him that I could cover for him.
Yeah.
What I took was, I'm going to take this bit of cash as my cover for.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Got it.
Which to me, that is a lot of money in the box, so it makes it look like he is taking the whole thing.
It's all dollars.
But the way it's written, it sounds like, like I said, I'd watch this. I'm taking my cover. Like he said he'd offer me $20, and Chuck's like, that was his stuff, and he takes the 20 and puts it back in the box.
Yeah.
Our big thing here is,
Drink
of course,
Chuck Norris water.
the Super Ninja.
God dang, it's a big computer.
The Super Ninja and our OK Ninjas want to steal the banana computer.
Sure.
They're all very much about how can we do this?
Who's this woman that's getting roughed up?
That's Margie. So Reed and his sister Pepper get into an argument.
Why do they dress the same?
Because they're twins.
Oh my God.
And they run out of the room, or he runs out of the hotel or wherever they're staying, and he runs into poor Margie. Margie has kind of like set up and distracted Reed for the OK Ninjas to come in and kidnap Pepper and the computer.
These two twins, they look like they're the hype people for some sort of cult.
They do. We find out that Margie's mom is sick, so that's why she did this, just to help her mom. Like, she didn't really want to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
well,
all get put in tough spots.
eventually, like with everything, Chuck Norris finds out that, hey, Pepper's been kidnapped along with the computer. We better go find him.
So Chuck Norris beats up whatever sickness her mother has.
No, he doesn't do that yet, but they do take Wolf with them. They
Wolf.
find the OK Ninja's hideout where he has Margie and Pepper both.
I like
help.
that the sumo guy has to take off his clothes every time he fights.
Well, he never changes out of that. He's always wearing that.
I understand, but if you go back a couple of pages,
Was he in clothes
He's
before?
in clothing. Yeah, go one more back.
Oh,
here.
he is.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, he literally takes his clothes off to fight people. Yeah,
He doesn't. He's a sumo wrestler. He doesn't know how to fight if he's not in a sumo garb.
have to fight. All right, give me 5 minutes. He's just disrobing in the corner.
Yeah, Chuck Norris and the Karate Commandos saved the day in that one too.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
a
That's
a
great.
very basic one.
Well, good
the
job,
the
Chuck.
last two are just a little more interesting, and we'll go ahead and finish up our look at Chuck Norris Karate Commandos right after this.
C-Force by Chuck Norris, a force of nature. Pure, powerful, perfect. There's no other way to describe water that erupts from the ground with such clarity and smoothness. From a sustainable source deep underneath Chuck Norris's Lone Wolf Ranch, we add nothing and take nothing away. It is 23,000-year-old Ice Age water. A never-ending source of power. Chuck Norris C-Force water. Kicks your thirst in the taste buds.
And welcome back in.
Why, hello.
Yeah. Hopefully you were with us for the first part. If not, this second part's going to
you're
make
lost.
no sense to you.
The guy has
Well,
to take his clothes off when he fights.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris is a badass.
He
too
has-
much tries to steal money from people.
And his name's Too Much.
And there's a dog that wants to kill everybody.
Yeah.
Yep. I think you're caught up.
So now, though, it's only right, though, that we start our second part with some more sage words
Sure, let's do it.
from Chuck Norris.
Teach me, Chuck.
The gang and I ran into the Claw and some of his more nasty friends while we were transporting a
Nasty friends.
state-of-the-art robot on what turned out to be a terror train.
Wait, a what? A terror train? Okay. Why would you take a state-of-the-art
It's
robot and put him on a terror train?
Does it not seem like they're stacking so much stuff on the
Yeah,
one?
it's a lot.
It's only
The
10
Claw,
seconds, so
his
I'm
guys.
gonna play it again then
Yeah,
so we can hear it
please.
all.
The gang and I ran into the Claw and some of his more nasty friends while we were transporting a state-of-the-art robot on what turned out to be a terror train.
A state-of-the-art robot.
I will tell you.
State-of-the-art robot.
They have a compilation on YouTube too, if you can find
Just
it.
of these?
Of just the live action stuff. It's only like 2 minutes.
That's the
But
best.
there's one, he's working out in all of them because that's, I guess,
Sure.
the only time sage advice comes to him. But there's one where he's
it's like the
using,
rest of us in the shower,
where
you
he's
know.
using like the Bowflex, I guess, kind of thing, where he's sitting on it and he has the cables that he's.
Yes.
Well, he stops and sits, and the handles bang against the. Against the workout equipment, and they have to wait a good 5 seconds. Like it just keeps clanking, and he waits for it to stop, and then he starts talking.
Well, I can't imagine Chuck Norris doing anything more than one take.
I feel like they shot it just that
everything
day.
was one take. Now, was he sitting on the Chuck Norris Total Gym?
I don't know. This was 86. It didn't have any like. This might be something that before it got to the point where he was a spokesperson for something.
Yeah, he was the spokesperson for the Chuck Norris Total Gym. I don't know when that happened, but it ran for about $1,200.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a lot.
yeah. Oh, look, see, doesn't that remind you? He's sitting there working out in his
See,
black
and
t-shirt.
that's kind of what the thing looks like, but it's not.
Yeah.
That one. All right, let's go ahead and get into.
If anybody's interested, you can find Chuck Norris and wife on the Total Gym Fit on YouTube.
There you go.
Him and his wife both working out on the Total Gym.
There you go. A lot of stuff you can look for Chuck Norris.
Sure.
Issue 3 focuses on
Chuck Norris.
Tabe. Because
Tabe.
we have a Chuck Norris.
Tabe. Nagila
Sorry.
Tabe.
And all it is basically Tabe just gives advice
They're using those wooden kendo sticks to
throughout
fight.
the whole issue. We have a framing thing that around it doesn't really matter. It's like, yeah, Chuck and Chemo battle with their wooden sticks.
Chemo, not Tabe.
Yeah, no, Tabe's the sumo wrestler.
Okay. All right.
And it's just them practicing and like, oh, it's a draw. Neither of us can beat each other,
Yeah,
whatever.
Sure.
Too much is sad because he has a friend
Too much is sad.
that he has a good friend that he goes to school with who both of them are really good at spelling.
That is the biggest bill I have ever seen
Yeah, it's
on a
massive
baseball hat.
It kind of looks like, you remember the bill from Smalls' hat in
Yeah.
Sandlot?
It also looks like the guy in the Mexican comedies that always wore the giant and he had a sucker or whatever. You know, the guy, oh, Dios mío,
Yeah,
that guy, you know?
Yeah.
Looks like that hat.
Yeah, it does. It's like a
It's a
fishing hat.
giant bill on this hat.
Oh,
It's
man.
so big.
But he's upset that, one of them's going to have to win and then they can't be friends anymore.
Right. Plus, the wind keps catching him
Yeah.
when he walks down the street because of this giant bill on his hat.
But Tabe's like, hey, that's not always the case. Did I ever tell you about the first time I met Chuck Norris? And he goes, no, I guess not.
Flashbacks?
Yeah, we get flashbacks.
Oh, nice.
So Tabe and a group of his friends are walking through this, I don't know where they're vacationing. It's some forest. And they come across kind of like a little bit of a lake or a river stream that has a felled
Tree, yeah.
Yeah, right? So it's like a log bridge that's made over. Well, Tabe tells his group that he's going to go ahead and cross over first to make sure it's okay, and then they can. On the other side of the water, Chuck Norris and his group show up, and Chuck kind of tells them the same thing. Oh no, both of them meet halfway together on the log.
They're on a log.
To which Tabe says, hey, why don't you go back? Let me come through and you go. Chuck goes, no, why don't you go back? All that back and forth. So they decide to, battle with the sticks that they're using to walk across. Chuck Norris slips because, let's be clear, Tabe does not beat him. Chuck Norris slips.
Sure.
They want you to, it has just a whole panel dedicated to his foot slipping. He falls in, and then Tabe tries to help him up, and, Tabe falls in the water too, and they both laugh, and they've been friends forever. And he kind of tells too much. just because, somebody has to win doesn't mean you still can't be friends.
That's true.
Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. It's sportsmanship.
That's right.
Gamemanship.
Then Reed comes in, and now Reed's upset. And Tabe asks Reed, hey, what's wrong with you here? And he goes, well, I basically have I've been training in gymnastics this semester, and we have like a big event coming up. But today I found out by accident that some of the other really good guys are going to be cheating.
Uh-oh.
How can I prove I'm the best when the contest isn't fair? So Tabe tells him, hey, ever tell you about the first time I met Chuck Norris?
Wow.
And Reed goes, no, I don't think I have. And Chemo notices, because Chemo goes, huh. Like we get a panel of that, of him noticing he said the same thing.
Yeah.
We get a news story now of how Tabe is back over in Japan. I guess Chuck Norris is there competing in some kind of like karate competition.
Chuck Norris had a unlimited pass to come between the U.S. and Japan
Probably.
at the time. Yeah.
And Chuck Norris overhears the ref and the fellow sumo guy basically tell him, the sign, you'll be able to get the jump. We're going to beat Tabe kind of thing.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris overhears that and like, I got to find out and tell whoever this guy is that this is going to happen. It also creates maybe the scariest panel in that whole comic.
Oh my God.
It's kind of frightening.
That is so close to Chuck Norris's face.
Bottom left, just to show Mason with the T. Oh my goodness. He also
That's what
does,
it looks like. That sound.
Yeah. Chuck Norris, they also want you to know Chuck Norris knows about karate and stuff.
Sure.
Because when he hears somebody else refer to Tabe as Tabe-san, he culturally appropriates it himself and he calls him Tabe-san the rest of the time.
Why wouldn't he? Yeah.
Anyway, Chuck goes and finds Tabe and tells him, hey,
Is Tabe getting bigger as we go through this?
I think he's supposed to be the
Because
same
right down
size.
there, he's gigantic. Look at that.
But over
Compared
here,
to
he's
this?
kind of, maybe he's bulking up in between matches. But
He's bulking up.
Chuck tells him, and he like thanks, for letting me know, but
He looks
I'll
like
be.
Astro Boy down there.
He kind of does. He's like, I'll be ready. And he notices when he lines up and gets ready that his opponent is too busy looking at the ref to get the sign of when to go, that when he charges at Tabe's ready and kind of lays him out of the way and pushes him out of the ring. And so Tabe is able to get the victory.
Why do these gentlemen not have any nipples?
Maybe it was too...
None of them have any nipples.
I just realized that maybe it was too scandalous.
I guess so. You couldn't show nipples.
Then,
There's sumo nipples, for God's sakes. Come on.
So Tabe tells Reed, so see, like, even if some people are cheating, you can still find a way to kind of, do your best, all that.
Be a good guy.
And Reed goes,
Don't be a dick.
okay. And Chemo's standing by the door after Reed leaves, thanking him for advice. And Chuck asks, is something wrong? And Chemo says, on the contrary, I've been hearing these very enlightening stories. And then about that time, Pepper walks in. And Pepper's upset now because...
here it comes again.
It has to do... this afternoon, by accident, all these things are this afternoon by accident, I overheard.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're being nosy, and they're trying not to say, like, they're being nosy. But by accident, I overheard some girls at school talking. They're not my friends or even people I like or anything, but they're the most popular girls in school. And they were talking about me. They were saying that the reason I spend all my time working on karate and sports and computers and cars is because when it comes to what they call the girl things, I can't cut it. I'm second rate.
Oh.
And then he's like,
can't do
Tabe
the girl
goes,
things.
those girls are just, they're silly and shallow. Like, you're great. You're beautiful on your own. And she's like, thanks, Tabe.
Except for your feet.
But there's a dance at school this weekend, and I really wish I could show them up there, but I don't really have anything. I'm just going to kind of look weird and grotesque.
What the hell?
She goes, I'll just end up looking grotesque. What can I do?
Oh, my God.
Tabe tells her, well, your problem reminds me of something that happened to me years ago in New York. Did I ever tell you about the time I first met Chuck Norris?
What is wrong with this guy? He's got a tumor.
Yeah, he goes, in fact, it was the very day I met Chuck Norris. Basically, they both come out and they hail a taxi cab at the same time.
Yeah.
While they're arguing over who should have it, they're going to play rock, paper, scissors for it. The woman getting out of the taxi has her purse snatched by a purse snatcher.
Oh, my gosh.
Tabe tries to grab his jacket. He gets out of it. Chuck steals the taxi and chases him down
Yeah.
and is able to help,
He
get
defeats the purse snatcher.
Exactly. It says, and so by a combination of elements, speed, wits, and strength, each used as needed, we foiled the theft, and so began our friendship. And Pepper says, I get it. Just like in the game, if you can't win by outdoing someone, change tactics. I guess they're talking about how he got away, so I had to change how they were going to catch him. So she's doing well. She's leaving, and she thanks him again so much. He's helped all three of them now.
Thank you.
And he goes, my pleasure. And the last three panels, because Chuck is covering, that doesn't work on a podcast, but Chuck Norris. Chuck is
Chuck Norris. Oh my God.
I just said that and I was like, how come? Never mind.
That's got to be a category on Pornhub. Chuck Norris's.
He's covering his mouth like to try from laughing. Chuck is. And Chemo goes, Chuck, may I ask how you really met Tabe? And Chuck says, sure. He sat next to me one day at a noodle bar and asked me to pass the soy sauce. And that's how it ends.
So what's the point? You change tactics, so you change stories every time? Is that kind of what it is?
No, I don't.
Or is he just nuts?
It was just 3 stories of him helping out these people.
Okay.
By lying about stories. Yeah.
All right, great.
That's okay.
So Chuck lies. This guy lies. Everybody lies.
Everybody lies.
Okay.
We get to our 4th and final issue here. One thing that happened during the run of this, though, Mike, if you'll notice, the price on the 1st through 3rd issue is all 75 cents.
Yeah.
Issue 4, they bumped it
Holy
up to
crap,
$1.
a dollar. Ooh.
Also,
But that's a quarter I couldn't use on Dig Dug.
That's true. I'd rather spend it on Dig Dug.
Yeah, probably.
One thing that changed, though, alongside the dollar new page rate is the fact that it is a completely new penciler. It is a completely new writer. They have changed the entire group after the first 3 issues. And we get so much information in here that ultimately leads to nothing since this is the last issue. Yeah. But I'll dive in on some stuff. Do they know it's the
last issue?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Probably not.
We do get, you'll like this, we do get a more lifelike Chuck Norris.
Oh, yeah. Look at him.
Granted,
that
it's
does
still very blonde.
Wow. Yeah.
He does look like Chuck Norris. There's a buzz on the gate of Chuck Norris's house.
Yeah.
And it's a man there named Jack Fredericks, and he's been appointed by the director to head the West Coast office.
Of? Okay, great.
Of whatever the Karate Commandos do. Chuck gives him a tour.
I want to know the East Coast Karate
I don't
Commandos.
know. Chuck gives him a tour of his palatial estate, as you'll see up here.
Oh my, lots of windows. It looks like it was designed by Mike Brady.
Well, then as he's going around, he's giving him a tour, and he's also introducing them. This kind of feels like, hey, well, you picked up issue 4. We're going to reintroduce you to everybody. Because he's going around the place and he's showing Mr. Fredericks everybody, or introducing him to all the people there that live, all the other commandos. And we come to Tabe first, and he tells them, how he's an accomplished...
noodle bar.
No. Oh, he's a sumo champion of all Japan. As you can see, still in top shape. He is also an accomplished poet, practical joker, and, well, let's just say that he likes to eat, because that's the joke all the time with Tabe.
Because he's a big dude.
Yeah. We then see
Nobody ever talks about his knitting.
Pepper drives by on a motorcycle, and as she drives by, Chuck says, my niece and ace mechanic, Pepper.
Oh, shit. This is the first time you find out it's his niece.
It's his niece now, 4 issues in.
And she's a twin.
Yes.
So he's got a nephew and a niece.
Right? Yeah.
I guess.
And she says, hi, Uncle Chuck. I was just taking the bike out for a spin. But which...
Uncle Chuck?
As he's introducing her a little bit more, he brings up the fact that she didn't wear a helmet while she was riding the motorcycle. She apologizes, says it'll never happen again. He kind of embraces her a little strange for it to be his niece. Like, it's a little too close.
Chuck Norris is that guy that he's got to be like a huge party foul guy, right?
Yeah.
Because no matter what you do, he's always like, well, you didn't wear a helmet. You should have worn a helmet. Haven't you read the laws about wearing a helmet while driving a... Shut up, Chuck Norris.
Oh, man. Then
Stop
I
telling
agree
me
with
what
you.
water to drink.
Yeah. It'll kick your taste buds in the thirst. Then he shows that Chemo is giving Reed
I could have been an advertiser.
a lesson in swordsmanship. They're working with Kendo. Of course, he calls him. He calls him Kendo sticks.
No, lesson in swordsmanship.
Oh,
Sounds.
of course, Chuck calls him Kimo-san because he is a karate master. And he goes, Reed, I'd like you to meet, and he introduces him there.
Kimo-san.
He goes, Kimo is from a family of samurai and continues their traditions. He adheres strictly to Bushido, the strict Japanese code of honor.
Yeah.
He is a superb fighter and tactician. And then he goes, Reed and Pepper are twins.
Great knitter.
While Pepper's most comfortable with a monkey wrench, Reed is our computer. Reed is our computer and electronics expert.
Then why didn't Reed help when they were stealing the banana?
Because Pepper was the electronics expert there.
Oh,
She
was
wanted
she
to
really?
say, I didn't say that.
Oh, wow.
But I just remember she wanted to hang around and play it, see what the computer could do. And he was like, whatever, I'll leave. They've switched it already.
Yeah.
Then they leave. Oh, get ready for the
That's
big
how
one.
much they look alike. These fraternal twins. That's how much they look alike.
Get ready for the biggest one. First, I didn't notice this. The headband that Chuck wears, it looks like he has a bow in the back of his hair
It
on that
does.
shit.
Yeah, that's lovely.
But here's the biggest change.
Once again, the Hulk Hogan tie. It looks
is.
a lot like it.
He goes, the youngest member of our family, Too Much. And Too Much replies with,
Hi, Dad. Oh, shit. Chuck Norris is his dad now.
and he goes,
This is 4 episodes or 4 issues in? Wow.
I don't know if it was that way on the cartoon.
Who's the
because
boy's mama?
I never saw the cartoon. I can't. I will now. If you'll watch it with me, I'll pay the $9.99.
Is it just like Immaculate Inception?
I
Is this what
guess.
or Conception?
He
Sorry,
says,
not Inception.
He says, Too Much is my son and our newest student of our martial arts academy. As my son, Too Much, you should
Well, he's
know.
really driving
Hold
home
on,
that son
hold
part, isn't
on.
he?
Here's your party foul. As my son, Too Much, you should know better than to use a weapon as if it were a toy. You're lucky you only bruised your shin because he hit himself with his
Yeah. With his
not-
nunchucks?
yeah, what they call them
Nunchuck.
nunchakas. I think is
Nunchakas.
the,
Yeah.
And then he goes, please put the nunchakas away.
Nunchakas.
Are back where they belong. And he's very sad. And he goes, and maybe after your shin feels better, I'll help you practice your spinning back kick. To which Too Much replies with, Too Much. Because that is, I have seen from a clip, what he does do in the cartoon.
I'm sorry, Father. Please put the nunchakas.
Oh, yeah.
back where
Mason
they
had
belong.
left to work on something. We got to issue 4 and found out that Too Much is Chuck's son.
And the twins are his
Niece and
and
nephew.
nephew.
So it's all family.
4 issues in, we find
4
this
issues,
out.
the last issue.
I just want to, again, I want to know who this kid's mom is.
Well, here's the thing. At the very end, because after Too Much says too much, it chucks
much!
back to Frederick and Chuck. And after spending so hard of hammering it in that he was his son,
Yeah.
Chuck says, Too Much is my adopted son.
Oh, there it is.
Jack, he's a great kid, but sometimes he's a little overly enthusiastic.
So sometimes he's
too much. So
It's so stupid.
we find out that it's not really, it's his adopted son.
Yeah.
And Reed and Pepper aren't his niece and nephew. He's watching out after them while their parents are out of the country for an extended period of time.
Oh, okay. All right. Doesn't Chuck go out of the country a lot to Japan? And why is Daredevil in this?
No, that's the head of the West Coast division now.
okay. He looks like what's Daredevil's name?
Matt Murdock.
Matt Murdock. Yeah, he looks a lot like Matt Murdock.
So they get a buzz from the director and they go to their office in...
Why is he always wearing sunglasses?
I don't know.
Okay.
This one is they find out that there's a scientist that the Claw has kidnapped
Claw.
the scientist's daughter. And big twist, she's diabetic and she needs her insulin.
Oh my God! Get to her fast.
So, I'm not trying to.
Yeah. Sure.
But it's just very weird for that to be the plot
Yeah.
in this for a kidnapping of a teenage girl. But anyway.
What'll kill somebody if they're diabetes? There we go.
there-
Make her a diabetic.
But Chuck, when he sees that it's the doctor whose daughter's been kidnapped is Belson, they both have a moment where they know each other and they do not like each other.
Chuck, if you
Like
don't
something's
hurry, she
happened.
could lose a toe.
And the doctor says, I'm not gonna help with this, not with Chuck Norris. And he's like, he's your only hope, kind of, if you want your daughter saved, it's Chuck Norris.
Get in the car if you want to live.
Yeah. We find out that Belson's been a little shady before in the past.
This doctor, Dr. Belson, Dr. Belvedere.
But they're going to help him still get his daughter. So they kind of tell him, hey, we're going to put a tracker in the bottom of your shoes. And we're going to be waiting in this fishing boat kind of off to the east that they won't suspect is us. And we'll be able to follow, track you, and, get you guys.
And they say all this while standing in the Justice League headquarters.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
And Belson's like, all right. And they get ready to leave. And as they're about to leave, Chuck goes, hey, Belson, you're forgetting the insulin. And he's like, yeah, of course. And Chuck tosses it to him.
Oh, Belson's not who we think he is.
So, as we see an abandoned lighthouse on the California coast, while they're waiting for, that is where our main villain here is, who he kind of looks like a member of Three Dog Night or the Bee Gees.
He looks like the guy from the China Syndrome. Is who he looks like, and I know you don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is. Anyway, this main villain, is it Rocco? We find his name out later. But this man is obviously working for the Claw because he tells him, Rocco. Oh,
doesn't he look like
Michael Douglas?
Well, yeah, I guess that's Michael
Michael Douglas's character.
No, you're right. Yeah, it was Michael Douglas. Huh? Well, maybe it's the guy from Amityville. Maybe he looks like, I don't know. They all look alike. All those white guys look alike.
But Rocco is about to say, yes, Claw. And he gets yelled at because, no names. He tells him, no names, you idiot, even though right before that, he says, you sound very sure of yourself, Rocco.
Oh, yeah. Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, and it's coming from your boss. It's kind of got to be a little frustrating. But he has Belson's daughter kidnapped, and Belson is by himself because they obviously told him if he was followed that they would,
He hangs up the radio and goes, oh, that Claw, he makes me so angry.
He does. Belson takes the raft out, and Rocco's guards pull a gun on him, and they're like, all right, come with us. Now, if there's anything, you're trying to do anything fishy, and he tells them, where he goes, since we don't want no uninvited company, we got to make sure you ain't bugged. We can do this the easy way, or we can do it the hard way.
Grammar's their favorite
And
thing.
Belson says, that won't be necessary. Chuck Norris planted some long-range transmission in my shoes. See, I'll get them. And he takes them and throws them off into the water.
Oh, my God.
And he goes, and they're also in a fishing boat right around the corner. So the helicopter hears it, goes over, and they blow up that helicopter that Chuck and his commandos are supposed to be in.
Oh, no.
Don't worry, though.
And that's how it ends.
That's it. Don't worry, though.
Chuck Norris is dead.
Because they pop up on the deck and
there they are.
They're scuba gear.
I like how the big sumo guy's in a giant wetsuit.
See, Chuck didn't trust Belson. Yeah. So they told him about the tracker that they put in his shoe when really he put one in the insulin.
Oh. Boy, that is so smart.
Chuck Norris beating people up.
If you're an idiot.
Again. He does shoot a gun.
Oh, this dude, he rips his shirt off to fight Chuck Norris.
Rocco rips his shirt off very much. What is the movie with Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee? Enter the Dragon?
No, is it Enter the Dragon?
Is that the one the first
Game of Death is with Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
Enter the Dragon.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like that fight scene is how he's kind of preparing himself. Chuck Norris pulls a gun because Rocco grabs Dr. Belson and is holding him at gunpoint. And Chuck Norris is like, man, you've made this easy. I don't like Belson. And he shoots towards Rocco and Dr. Belson. Instead, he misses and hits the pipe next to him, and a gas starts coming out of it. It was a bullet that had knockout gas in it. He wasn't going to shoot anybody.
Knockout gas.
Everybody's rescued.
Don't you wish you could get your hands on some knockout gas from time to time?
Everybody's rescued. And they're like, man, I wonder who was behind all that. And Chuck Norris goes, I think I have an idea. And he flips over the gun that Rocco had. And on the bottom of it is a symbol that says, or that's the claw symbol. And he tells them it's the cult of the claw. And then it says in the caption below, the end, ... for now. But it was the end. There was no more. So there you go.
Man, those are great. I love those.
Would you like me?
I wish they would have made a cartoon or something out of it.
You know what? I know I teased it for the very end, but let me just show you the theme song for this, and you can follow along at home. For those, obviously, you will just hear the audio.
Yeah.
But to see this fantastic video that goes with it,
all right.
As I get this ready for Mike.
Karate Commandos. Oh, boy, look at him go. He's kicking through a portal.
How many times have we heard Chuck Norris?
18, 19.
And then it's like a lot of action.
Yeah, he just busted through a window to kick a bad guy
He
in
has
the
like
nuts.
a car that has like a saw blade on the side of it.
He's got an Inspector Gadget car.
Oh,
Too much. Yeah. And comic relief.
yeah.
Oh. Oh.
And he roundhouse kicks
Yeah.
the training bag into the wall then too. 10 times. Mason counted. It says Chuck Norris 10 times in a minute-long intro.
That's great.
That is like once every 6 seconds you hear Chuck Norris.
Well, what that is, Zach, is it's branding.
That's
You have to
Chuck
brand
Norris.
it. Chuck Norris is his brand.
Yeah, Chuck Norris is really good at selling Chuck Norris.
I bet he talks in third person too.
You think he
Like,
does?
oh, Chuck Norris loved this steak. Chuck Norris really has to go to the bathroom.
So you think that's how the idea for the water started? Is he honestly
Yeah.
just goes, "Where's my Chuck Norris water?" There
Chuck
we go.
Norris loves water. Boy, I wish I could make my own Chuck Norris. Hey, maybe I got an idea.
So there you go. I thought that this was just too fun not to cover.
Oh, it's fantastic. And the thing I love about the Chuck Norris water is they literally say, we just pull it out of the ground and give it to you. We do nothing to it. So
Here, you want our dirt water?
that's what I'm saying. It's just dirt water, right? But don't you at least filter it, Chuck?
Oh, they
Well,
don't. I
no,
guess.
that's where you get the super chemicals. That's where the power comes from.
That's what the Super Ninja wants you to do.
It's too much, Chuck. No, that's my son.
You know, I would add, electrolytes, mineral salt, and stuff like that. But then the Cult of the Claw would win.
That's right. That's right. The Cult of the Claw would win, and you can gain all those things naturally by just working out
That's
with me,
true, too.
Chuck Norris,
On my Total Gym.
in my Chuck Norris,
Chuck
in my
Norris.
Chuck Norris Total Gym.
So he's had multiple names. It's Chuck Norris, Cuck
Chuck
Norris,
Cuck
and
Norris.
Chuck Norris. Yeah. The latter two both could be in porn, oddly enough.
His friends just call him Chuck
Yeah.
Norris.
But they never play. They do. He makes them call him this full name.
Hey, Chuck Norris, how are you? Oh, you don't have to call me that. You can call me Chuck Norris.
But all of this seems like it's all those Chuck Norris jokes, but for real, like played straight.
No, this is definitely where
Like,
it came
he could
from.
do it all.
Yeah.
But so
He's literally in a scuba suit with an oxygen tank, kicking a guy in the face on a pier in the front of this one, and his gun just went flying. That gun's going to hit Chuck Norris.
no, it's not. He'll catch it.
Chuck Norris is allergic to guns.
So there you go. That is this week's Bros, Foes,
He's
and
even
Heroes.
kicking his own name here.
Yeah. You love how Marvel, it got smaller and smaller, but they did put the
It
cat
is
logo
very
down
small,
in the
yeah,
corner.
yeah.
So Star Imprint, or their Star Comics, is they would focus on like licensed properties.
Yeah.
So they made a comic book. I do it for Mad Balls. You remember those
I
bouncy
do
balls
remember
with the
Mad
angry?
Balls. Yeah, that was
There's
90s.
a 12-issue
Yeah.
comic on it.
12.
I believe
Well,
12.
they show how the balls became so mad. You know, it's a buildup, slow burn.
Yes.
You know?
I don't know. They would make comics about everything. Well, we covered. Remember, US One
Yeah.
was made for that Tyco
Yeah, the racing game. Yeah.
truck
Yeah.
racing thing. Yeah.
Has Captain America ever looked more like incredulous to something?
He's so
just
not
like,
happy to be there.
Why am I on the front of this?
It
goddamn
does look like
comic
that. I
book?
wonder if he has more
just
of a
looks terrible.
smile. No, it's a stock picture on all of them, but it's fitting on
Well,
this.
he's on the front of Chuck Norris comics, though. I mean, he's got to be like, I saved the freaking world, and they put me on the front of Chuck Norris comics.
the
Come on.
Karate Commandos.
In the place of the UPC code.
Trying to sell it. You can tell. Well, this also could be when they do put the UPC. This could have been packed together and sold at one point, and that's what
true.
the scan
That's true.
came from.
You just buy the Chuck Norris pack.
Yeah. Can I get all 4 Chuck Norrises, please?
It kicks your imagination in the brain,
In the taste bud brain.
the taste brain.
As always,
Brain buds.
You can find us on Instagram, BroFoHero. Feel free to
Hero.
email us, bros, foes, and heroes at gmail.com. Also, roguemedianetwork.com
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
for tons and tons of other great podcasts. And actually, while we're here, Mason, if you want to, I'll go on, and I always forget the name, and I'm terrible at it. I always think I'm going to mispronounce when I do it. If you want to plug your podcast as well.
Bibliophobia.
Thank you. Okay, see, I always want to say bibliophile,
Yeah.
but it's
Bibliophobia.
Bibliophobia.
And he renamed it.
Oh, you did?
It's now Chuck Norris's Bibliophobia. Kicks
So-
your imagination in the book.
I just want to make sure and bring it up because Mason was nice enough to have me on
Yeah.
and record an
Yeah.
episode, and we read a really great story,
What was
and we
it?
talked about rain.
Oh, cool.
It was a Joe Hill story turned into a 5-issue comic by Image, and we
Oh,
talked
very
about
nice.
it. We had a lot of fun with it. It was really good. So I just
I like
also
how he
want
gets
to.
pretty deep in these things, you know? Yeah.
No, I had a
True
lot of
Mason
fun
is
reading.
coming out.
Exactly, reading the story and then talking about it with him. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure and go ahead and promote that some as well.
I just love the fact that I hire literate people. That's,
it's
not-
right.
the last few just couldn't read. And I didn't enjoy that.
Did they want to make a podcast about not reading books?
No, they wanted me to teach them to read. And that's just not a service we offer here.
Yet.
Not anymore.
All right. Well, that does it for us. I didn't know how else to go.
I don't know how to
so
go. I don't know how to transition that.
as
As always.
thanks for joining us, and until next time, stay safe, everybody.
Got it, con! Help me, Chuck Norris is after me.
Frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.